BlazBlue is one of those series that are unique to the fighting game world because it's a fighting game, but it's also a visual novel, essentially satisfying two audiences at once. It has an action-packed fighting system, but also dozens upon dozens of hours of story content to go through. It's also a series that's pretty much completely available on handhelds, from the original Calamity Trigger's PSP version to today's game. So, concluding the BlazBlue saga, here is my review of BlazBlue Central Fiction Special Edition for the Nintendo Switch. Central Fiction picks up right where Chrono Phantasma left off. In the wake of the previous game's events, the world is under threat by a strange orb in the sky, and everyone is teleported into a new world, where Ragnar the Blood Edge sets out on a quest to put an end to everything he started in the previous games. Now, the story of the series has always been very deep and very complex, and Central Fiction takes that complexity to an entirely new level. It brings in elements from the three BlazBlue games, but also story elements from the X-Blaze series. Of course, the game does offer a half-an-hour recap of the previous game's events, but it goes by so quickly and introduces new things so often that honestly, it's hard to keep track of, whether you're new to the series or a series veteran like myself. When it comes to gameplay, Central Fiction is a 2D fighting game with very heavy visual novel elements thrown into its story mode. Now, first off, the Switch version of Central Fiction is Special Edition. It has all of the PS4 and Steam versions DLC packed in, easily making this version the biggest bang for your buck. Now, when it comes to game modes, you do have a lot of different things you can go through. Practice mode gives you dozens of tutorials and challenges so you can learn the game, be it just the basics or character specific. Story mode obviously has the 12-chapter story campaign along with the library that has definitions for everything BlazBlue. You got 5 different battle modes, from the classic arcade mode to the customization heavy Grim of Abyss mode, and you've got the network function that lets you do online battles with others from around the globe. In other words, you've got a lot you can do even outside of the very extensive story mode. Now, in terms of combat, things are mostly the same here from previous entries. You still fight on a 2D plane, you still do various combos, and you still do 1v1 battles. You've got a few new things like active flow mode that gives you stat benefits when you play very aggressively towards your opponent, but overall it feels like the same battle system you know and love, including the return of stylish mode that lets you do button matches if you're a beginner to do basic combos and see how the game works. Or if you're not a fighting game fan and just want to get through the battles and enjoy the visual novel elements of the game. Now, all of this comes together pretty well, especially in terms of content and length. BlazBlue has always been known for having lengthy story campaigns, and Central Fiction is no different. It took me around 18 hours to clear all of the main scenarios of story mode, and another 5 to 6 hours to get through all of the gag reels and sub-scenarios. Obviously, this will fluctuate depending on how fast you read. I had it on auto-scroll the whole time. But overall, I would say that you will be spending no less than 20 to 25 hours on this game. Now let's dive into presentation, which is about the same as it was in Cross Tag Battle. All the environments and all the effects look great, but the character models have a lot of very large and noticeable jagged edges on them, which takes away from the very crisp smoothness of the other versions. And if I'm going to be perfectly honest, it actually makes it look a little less polished than even the PS Vita version of Chrono Phantasma that I reviewed years ago. Of course, performance easily makes up for that, because the frame rate is perfect and all of the load times are very short. It plays extremely well. Now let's dive into battery life. Since it looks very similar to the graphical style of Cross Tag Battle, I expected that to be similar. And actually, it's a little more. BlazBlue Central Fiction has a battery range of 3 hours and 26 minutes on high settings, up to 4 hours and 40 minutes on low settings. So you're going to get almost 5 hours out of this game depending on your brightness. Now, in conclusion, BlazBlue Central Fiction comes to the Switch with everything the other versions had and for less money. Now, on the downside, the story does get a little too confusing even for series veterans, and the graphical style is a bit less polished than even previous handheld entries. But if you want more BlazBlue on your Switch, this is an easy way to get dozens and dozens of hours of it on the go. Reviews to Go rates BlazBlue Central Fiction Special Edition for the Nintendo Switch a 9 out of 10. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below or head to the website at reviewstogo.com.